Host Riel, I want to share this very nice tip with you pag nalalock ka outside of your house.
Hala, be, ang specific naman yun. Ano yun?
If you ever get locked out, sit down and talk to the lock calmly. After all, communication is key.
Hoy, Benta! Hala! Communication is key! Hala!
Hmm.
Okay. Ay, hindi ako papatalo. Okay, next episode, magbabaon ako. Sige.
Okay,
Hala!
sure.
Okay, nasold ako doon. Sige, ibebenta ko yan for 1 million. So, ayun. Hello, listeners. I'm Riel Ocampo, your host.
And I am Harriet, your other host.
Of course, we're serving with integrity.
Connecting with sincerity.
Here in High Cast Exclusive.
Presents. Kara, tingnan mo. Asan Mia? Ayun oh. Asan nga? Di ko kita. Kara.
Kara? Mia? Haya pa? Tunghayan sa ating next episode, an original High News Senior podcast.
And also Spotify. Powered by Anchor.
So ayun na nga, Miss Harriet. Ano pa ilang episode na natin to? Four, no?
Yeah.
Ang dami nating mga hashtags. Pero feel ko may uniqueness dito sa hashtag na to. Care to tell us kung ano?
Okay, here. Hashtag Kara Mia. No. No, all caps ha. Hindi lang siya no.
Kara Mia,
No.
Bakit kaya? Sige, alamin natin mamaya. Ayun.
Okay, yes. Alamin natin mamayan because before diving into today's napaka-relevant topic, host Riel care to do the honors in introducing our reminders and precautions.
Yes, of course. I'm here to remind the audience that we have different views tsaka insights and should not, of course, take the topic personally. Kasi you are not obligated to follow any of our advices that are stated sa mga pinagsasabi namin this episode.
And this podcast is made not only to inform, but to entertain too. Hence, jokes shouldn't be taken seriously. Thus, listeners' discretion is strongly advised. Okay, ito na.
Ayan
Pero,
na.
wait lang ha. Sorry
Ano?
ha. May sincere question ako.
Hala,
Bakit?
okay.
Bakit Karamia no ang ating hashtag? Hindi kasi ako nanonood ng ganyan.
Oo, yung sa GMA na ano. Okay, kasi it's because di ba? Like, yung si Kara and Mia, same body, right? Yung isa normal, yung isa nasa likod ng ulo. So, it's Kara Mia no because Kara and Mia, pag nagto-talk sila, minsan di sila nagkakaintindihan since yung nga, isa nasa likod. And that brings us sa topic natin which is communication. O sige, Miss Harriet, sa tingin mo ba, sa iyo essential ba ang communication when it comes to relationships? Hello? Speaking from experience.
Ba, host Riel, syempre, hindi. Ay, dapat itigil ko na yun, no? Yung
Corny na siya, Veps.
ano na siya, old news. But, on a serious note, of course naman. Because, in a friendship, relationship, to ensure mutual understanding talaga. Whether it would be a friendly, platonic, or romantic bond, this will revolve around communication. The listeners will know and will dive deeper into this. But personally I try my best to be as transparent as I can with my thoughts towards my friends. You know that. Even in formal situations habang nagmi-meeting.
Tama nga naman, Miss Harriet. If I may add something to that, kasi nga, di ba, platonic, as romantic, may pagkakaiba yan, right? Yun nga, platonic and romantic relationship have differences. And masasabi ko rin doon is, kami mga host, mga staff, kahit sino man lang, pati kayo mga listeners, should know kung ano yung difference. Since, kung approach ka mo ng tao, gano'n, o kaya meron siya parang closest sa inyo, hindi naman palaging romantic yung feelings na
Hmm.
gustong i-share ng tao na yon. Kasi
Mm.
talaga, kailangan at malaman if this person is a friend or not, or if they want to be friends or not.
Ah,
Kasi,
yes.
minsan, nakakasira ng relationship yan. Mga
Mm.
friendships, ganon. If someone thinks of them romantically, yung isa pala hindi, platonic
Mm.
lang yung gusto. Kaya alamin natin yung difference, guys. Hindi lahat ek-ek.
Yeah.
Diba, right?
Kaya remember, sa mga no label diyan, baka
Ay,
gusto niyo pag-isipan 'yon.
yes, pag-isipan nyo.
I know it's
Kasi, ano
popular,
yun?
pero sometimes
Mhm.
we have to talk about it kahit ayaw natin
Yes.
i-face.
You should know your worth. Tama, 'di ba?
Yes.
Tas ayun, kanina sinabi mo 'di ba, like alam natin it's really important when it comes to relationships as you said. Ayun, sabi ko rin, hindi romantically but also platonic. Yung kahit anong relationship, kailangan natin ng interaction. That's why communication is very important.
Yes, I cannot stress how important communication is talaga in so many aspects. Hindi lang siya constant na parang one thing in your life. 'Pag tumanda ka, as you grow up talaga, mare-realize mo talaga kung gaano 'to, like, important. Kasi kahit hindi naman siya everyday communication, like, even though you guys
Mhm.
don't talk every day, when we say what really is important and what matters, it makes a big difference na. Do you get me?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
Kasi 'di ba kailangan nga natin yung communication sa buhay natin. Just
mm.
like us, yung mga host niyo.
Yeah, we're communicating to
Sige, Miss
you.
Harriet, give us an instance where communication is like beneficial to you. Sige. Anong like instance or like situation na nung nangyari, na-realize mo, oh, that's why communication is really important. Give us one, sige.
Hmm, okay. One of my best friends and I, sobrang hindi nagto-talk every day.
Hmm.
But every now and then, we catch up. And then,
Yes, tama.
even though, like, in the times na hindi kami nag-uusap, may parang anxiety syempre na, hala, baka ganyan-ganyan. But when we
Mhm.
talk again and then we clear up those feelings,
Mhm.
it's like we worried for nothing. So,
Mhm.
if we didn't communicate it to each other, then we would just like stay in that anxious state. Ngayon, to be honest, pag hindi present yung mutual communication sa friendships,
Mhm.
hindi ako mag-i-invest sa friendship na yun. Kasi I don't,
Hmm.
parang kung walang understanding, bakit pa mag-ano, 'di ba?
Kung walang like parang mutual nga na siya energy gano'n o kaya naman parang yung isa stale na gano'n. As I've said on the last episode nga naman na, we need to let them go, let them be. Kasi nga we outgrow yung mga relationship na gano'n, right?
Yeah. Of
Tsaka
course.
yung sinabi mo kanina, ang ganda ng point mo dun, You have more to add ba?
Yeah, actually, it's like, although we can pick up on hints na parang, ay, baka galit siya, gano'n.
Mhm.
Let me just remind all of you guys na hindi po tayo mind readers. Hindi mind readers ang mga jowa niyo. Nahihirapan rin sila
Yes, tama.
to try and find out what you're really feeling. And hindi po tayo si Professor X from
Yep.
X-Men, yung nagbabasa ng minds.
Yes. Kasi Miss
Yeah.
Harriet, when it comes to relationships nga naman, 'di ba? Communication is really important since as you said, yung mga assumptions na yan, nakakasira yan ng relationships.
Yes,
'Di ba? Kasi kung
tamang-tama.
kunwari, yung jowa mo, may pinaparating siya sa'yo na message pero ayaw niya sabihin, tas ayun, may parang mali na na signal dun. So ginawa mo 'to imbes na yung ini-expect niya,
Hmm,
siyempre madi-disappoint yung and that is another thing para sa mga relationship diyan. Na
mm.
wag kayong mag-set ng ng mga extreme expectations sa jowa niyo kasi
Tama.
'pag na-disappoint ka, magkakaroon ng minus points, 'di ba?
Yeah, ikaw rin lang
Masasabi mo na,
yung
hala itong lalaking 'to or like babaeng 'to hindi feel ko di na siya para sa'kin. feel ko di niya ako pinapahalagahan, right? That's why, wag tayo maging ganon, Vabs.
Yes. And of course, with that, syempre, the only way to establish an idea or concept, emotion or
Mm.
like expression is to have clear confirmation. So paano magkakaroon ng confirmation kung
Yes,
walang
tama.
communication, right?
Confirm na no, gusto ka pa nung tao.
Oo. Tamang
Feel ko hindi na eh. I-friendzone na lang natin.
Yeah.
Ayun. Tsaka nasabi mo nga, 'di ba, confirmation. True nga naman na yung effective delivery, yung pag-deliver ng information to the other party is of course a factor para mas ma-understand yung yung feelings ng isa't isa. Tama.
Tamang-tama. Very fruitful conversation.
Sige.
Pero,
Feel ko nasa kalagitnaan na tayo. May introduce ka ba? Feel ko may gusto
lang,
kang introduce eh. Kanina ka pa nangangawit dyan sa kamay mo.
nangangati kasi yung ngayon. Kasi, sorry ha, pero nasa mood kasi ako maglaro ng Pinoy
Anong laro?
Henyo.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Since we can see each other naman. Sige.
Okay, mag-isip ka ng word.
Sige. Okay. Meron na.
Okay. Tao ba?
No?
Bagay?
Pwede. Pero malabo?
Eh di pagkain siya.
Hindi.
Ay?
Hindi.
Ano? So, hayop?
Hindi. Pero parang pwede.
Ano ba, be? Sandali Feel ko yan. Feel ko, hindi ko alam ano nafe-feel mo. To ano nga ba talaga? Alaman siya.
Depende.
Hindi. Wala na. Hindi talaga kita maintindihan. Host Riel. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Tama. Hindi tayo nagkakaintindihan sa larong ito at hindi ko alam kung ba't natin ginawa. Listeners, yung ginawa namin ngayon, isa yung example ng miscommunication. Ang pangit ng ginawa natin. Ayoko na ulitin to. Ayoko na.
Okay. Uy, pero that serves as a very simple example nga naman. So, Host Riel, imagine mo naman, okay? Imagine mo, if we had no form of communication whatsoever.
I think that would be really hard, especially now that we're working as a host and also producer, creative director, ganun dito, graphic artist. I can say na it's really hard to not communicate since yun nga, mga schedules, kapag kunwari dapat punctual ka dito kasi may meeting, ganun, o kaya naman may deadline sa org. Ang pangit sabihin na parang kapag hindi tayo nagkakausap, hindi maganda kasi namimiss kita. Char!
Akala ko naman.
Hindi. Kasi hindi yung workflow natin, yung dynamic nasisira.
Yeah.
Kasi walang communication. Kasi kapag walang communication nga, as we've said kanina, walang nagkakaintindihan. Diba?
Yeah. That's so true. Lalo na ako, I hate working in group works talaga kapag walang communication. No form of update, no form of feedback, no form of talaga whatsoever na suggestions.
Alam ko yung sa mga ganyang grupo, yung form of responses nila, be.
Yeah.
Emojis.
Oo. Ngayon, no?
Yung reactions, diba?
That's the bare minimum na that we could get sa online. We'll talk about that later too.
Kaya nga po ang hirap ng online setting. May mga pros and cons, pero pag-usapan na naman. Sige. Sige yun. Miss Harriet, communication tayo na communication. Pero ano nga ba yung communication talaga? Yung formal definition. Care to tell us a definition? Sige.
Okay. So, siguro the most basic one is coming from the etymology of communication. And communication comes from the Latin word communicatio. I joke. Hindi ko alam paano i-pronounce.
Communicatio?
It's like communicatio. It's Latin kasi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that means to share. Wow.
So it's sharing messages, ganun, no? like, and the act of giving, ganon. Also, of course, receiving, understanding, and,
Mm.
sharing information in general, right?
Tamang-tama, nakikinig ka ng oral com 'no?
Last year rin, na grade
Oo.
11. Pero ayun,
Ayun.
sige. I'll give you guys, listeners, a rundown kung paano ba yung process ng communication. Of course, the first thing is from the sender, which is the idea formation, I mean. Kapag gusto mo mag-send a message, of course, you need to formulate your message para
Mm.
man tama, clear, and concise. And then, of course, kapag encoding na, kung anong gusto mong kung paano mo siya encode, like, i-write mo ba siya, ita-type mo ba siya, o kaya pasalita. And then, of course, channel selection. Kung paano mo siya ibibigay doon sa ating receiver. Na
Mm.
kunwari, by mouse. So, naririnig ng by sound waves.
Mm.
Sound waves?
Wow!
O kaya by letter. Yung postal, ano ba yun? Basta ganun, like, di-deliver, o kaya naman kapag phones natin, pag tinype mo, pag in-encode mo, of course, pupunta yun by internet dun sa receiver. And of course, the receiver, doon siya mag-encode, ay magde-decode nun after niya ma-receive yung message. And syempre, sa mga nagre-receive naman ng message dyan, sa mga seniors, mag-reply kayo, feedback, okay ba?
Ay, grabe ka naman. Pero in a kinder naman, Host Riel, please provide feedback. Ayun.
Yes, opo. Tandaan po natin na kapag may sinabi po kaming instructions sa ating GC, tandaan na mag-feedback naman kayo para alam kong buhay pa kayo.
For the betterment of the whole group naman. And
Mm.
that's very nice, lecture, Sir Riel. So, syempre, kailangan nating malaman na ang communication ay hindi lang one way
Ano?
na parang nagsasalita.
Yeah. Tama.
Hindi porket nagsasalita na kami ngayon, yun lang yung communication.
Mm.
Yes. Though, this is a very prevalent way, like verbal communication, whether it would be through talking, writing, texting, and more, meron din naman tayong non-verbal communication.
Yeah, tama. Kasi 'di ba, Miss Harriet, interesting to kasi ginagawa natin 'to even now we're recording. Like yung
Mm.
hand gestures natin, mga sign languages, mga ginagamit ng mga
Yeah.
hindi nakapagsalita o kaya naman yung para naman secret message, gano'n. Yung
Mm.
facial expressions natin when we're doing speeches, kapag nakakausap yung friends, gano'n,
Mm.
kahit saan. And also, a lot more na masabi mo na communication is not only limited to speaking, right?
Yeah. And ang gusto ko 'yan kasi hindi siya
Ano?
exclusive lang sa mga speaking people.
Yes.
Like, it's very inclusive to people with disorders rin, right? And
Disabilities,
yeah,
oo.
through sign language, ganun, they can communicate with us as well.
Mm.
And that's what I love about communication.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Naman. Okay. To give an example naman of its importance, can you give more about sa experiences mo?
Sa akin,
Mm.
sige, feel ko siguro nung nagho-host ako ng JHS days ko. Kasi 'di ba, to effectively communicate to the audience na nasa harapan ko, like ang dami siyempre, para mas ma-engage sila sa akin when I'm talking. The
Mm.
siguro, obvious and evident na nakita mo talaga 'pag nasa stage ako na ginagawa ko is I'm doing kanina, as I've said, yung non-verbal communication. I do a lot of body languages. Kunwari may akong meron akong pupunta sa stage and then sasabihin ko, tatanungin ko yung pangalan niya. Siyempre, I'd be parang very friendly, gano'n yung
Oo.
galaw ko, very wavy, gano'n.
Yeah.
Para yung alindak, tama ba yun? Alindak? Alindag? Alindog?
Hindi ko alam 'yan, pero
Feel ko
sige.
alindog. Alindog, I know alindog is charm, right? So, by doing so, like non-verbal communication, gano'n, yung mga paggalaw, galaw-galaw, kembot-kembot, mas nagiging comfortable sa akin yung mga napapapunta ko sa stage kahit na
Hmm.
forced.
Oo.
Kasi syempre napili from the audience, right?
Listeners, kahit ngayon, kita kasi namin isa't isa. Kita ko
Mm.
siya. Ang likot niya.
And also, sige, one more thing, sige.
Mm.
Nag-share
Oo
ang
nga.
tita.
Sige.
Ano siguro, another connected example is nung 8th grade ako. Kasi I
Mm.
have like an ex-best friend. And
Oh.
naalala ko dati dito sa subdivision namin, merong kumpul-kumpul lang sand. Kasi
Mm.
ginagawa yung mga bahay, gano'n. So one night, pumunta kami do'n and natandaan ko pa kasi that was my first time like actually bursting out what I feel dun sa ex-best friend ko. And by that, by that like event, we became closer together, we became tighter as friends. Tsaka yun, not
Hmm.
only in that instance, but after nung event na yun, every day, like after that, mas naging bearable yung aking like parang
Hmm.
everyday life kasi nag-grew ako as a person. And
Mm.
I've integrated it into my life that expressing my thoughts more
Mm.
is good, 'di ba?
Yeah, I agree. Kasi when you start young, it's like it's just gonna follow na lang, right? In
Mhm,
your
tama,
following
tama.
years. So, basically, ako naman, to sum it all up, it's actually important every day. Don't you agree?
Yes, it's important to really remind yourself that it's okay to express what you feel.
Mm.
It's
It's
fine,
okay.
'cause it's your right, 'di ba?
Mm.
It's your right as a person. At kung may sabihin man yung ibang tao, wala na silang pakialam dun 'cause it is your right.
Yes, but we also have to keep in mind that if you're starting to step on people na, or if you're starting
Oh,
to harm
yeah.
people na, then you
Mhm.
should know your limits na. But
That's not good, yes.
yeah, at the
Kasi
same
alam
time,
natin 'di ba, Miss Harriet, like
yeah.
we're surrounded by people.
Mm.
Tsaka some might not, pero I guess most, alam naman na important yung pagiging mabuti natin at yung pagiging maalam sa mga limits natin.
Mm.
Lalo na sa mga words natin gano'n sa actions, right?
Tama nga naman, Host Riel. So, ayun, later on naman, we'll be talking about how to practice effective communication during these instances. But, of course, before knowing how to effectively communicate, syempre kailangan natin malaman kung ano naman yung factors and barriers that affect how we communicate. So, we have to know the problems first before we resolve them. So, Host
Tama, tama.
Riel, do you have examples?
Hmm. Siguro yung pagiging shy gano'n. Tsaka
Mm.
yung ano pa ba, yung mga barriers katulad ng culture,
Ah,
language,
yes.
ano pa ba, like mga psychological matters gano'n.
Mm.
Tsaka another thing, emotional barriers, right?
Mm, 'yun.
Katulad na lang ng sige nga, give example, sige.
Ano ba? Paggalit, of course,
Yeah,
this is
oo.
so common. This is what I actually see in most people. This is the most parang fiery emotion talaga that prevents
Hmm,
communication,
yep.
once you think about it. Okay, I'll give you an example na lang para mas gets naman. A
Mhm.
relatable example is kunwari sa mag-jowa, ayun nga naman, mag-jowa. So, ang instance kasi 'pag nagkakaroon ng problem between relationships is they're gonna get too angry to the point that they can't
Yep,
think logically anymore.
yes.
And because of that, hindi na napapakita kung ano yung true purpose ng pag
Relasyon nila
oo, ng
gano'n.
relasyon nila.
Pagsasama nila,
Parang
nawawala yun 'cause they can't really think of themselves kung ano nga ba nangyayari, right?
kumbaga na
Kasi galit na galit.
yes, they get blinded. And another example is sometimes teachers and parents and higher images, yung
Mhm.
mga ano natin,
Figures gano'n.
figures, yan, figures. Sorry
Oo.
ha, sabog ko ah. Yung ano natin, higher figures natin,
Mhm.
usually when they don't process their anger
Hmm,
first, mahu-hurt yung younger ano naman nila.
people, like mga juniors
Yeah,
gano'n 'no?
mga anak nila, lower grades, students, like that. Okay. Ano pa ba?
So ayun, another barrier nga 'di ba, Miss Harriet, yung shyness,
Yeah,
right? Sige, try to elaborate.
okay. Actually, this is also perfect for me kasi I'm a very shy kid. I grew up
Yeah.
no, I didn't grow up shy, but at some point naging shy ako. And because of that, parang I lost a lot of opportunities to put myself out there. Like compared to now dati I was just
Mm.
like super conservative with all of my
Yep.
opportunities laid out in front of me. And I wasn't able to parang tell people na I want that. I wasn't able to tell
Mm.
people what I really wanted because nga I was
Mm.
shy.
That's true.
Mm-mm. And
You've
it,
mentioned that last time, right?
yeah, nung
No
episode 2,
episode 2.
yeah, I was,
Mm.
hindi talaga ako talkative dati.
Mm.
And ano, parang another barrier to link with that is being worrisome. Like you worry a lot.
Mm.
Kasi you always think about the what ifs, 'di ba? And then this is also one of a very big factor in my life kasi I usually tend to run away from conflicts and than to face them. Gets ba?
Mm.
I had a lot of problems with that at some point in my life. So, I think that can be a very big lesson then in trying to
Mm.
communicate with what you feel. Yeah.
Okay, tama nga naman. O sige second to the last na another emotional or hindi siya emotional, it's actually a different like culture and language barrier, right, Miss Harriet?
Yeah. I
Kasi 'di ba kapag
agree.
ibang culture tsaka ibang language, ang hirap nga namang makipag-talk, kompromisa, gano'n. That's why we need to like really compromise kasi it's a process of learning kapag gano'n
Mm.
yung ibang tao na iniintindi natin. That's
Mm.
why kung gano'n, mag-Google Translate ka na lang be. Char!
Pero I think finding the common ground is good.
Mm.
Mm. But
O
anyway,
sige. Hala,
let's
may isa pa.
let's
Sige,
move
personal, sige
on.
personal. Jealousy. Kapag kasi
Okay.
jealous ang isang person, minsan hindi nagkakaintindihan, 'di ba? Lalo na hindi lang sa like romantic relationships, even platonic. Kapag yung kaibigan mo jealous, gano'n,
Oo, tama.
nakaka-cloud yung judgment sa'yo na, "Hala, feel ko hindi na ako best friend nito."
Oo. Oo.
Yung
Actually ako
gano'n,
rin.
gano'n, dati.
Dati gano'n ako sobrang ko, parang hala gano'n. Wow, super in line yung mga emotional
Oo
natin,
nga, eh.
Oo.
Tas ano pa ba, sa romantic naman gano'n, kapag jealous yung isang tao ang daming na like assumptions gano'n, hala cheater ata 'to, meron siyang kabit gano'n, may kausap siyang iba. Nakakasira talaga ng mga relationships 'yan, right?
Tamang-tama. And siyempre, sasabihin natin kung paano natin i-overcome yung barriers na yun. But before that, I wanna talk about one last factor, that's very relevant today, and that is technology. Most especially
Hmm?
since we shifted from face-to-face to online communication dahil nga sa
Mm.
pandemic. Ang daming changes talaga when it comes to communication, don't you think?
Yep. Kasi dati nakakausap natin sarili, yung ibang tao face to face, like we can see their expressions, body languages, mas
Mm.
naiintindihan natin sila kung anong gusto nilang iparating. Pero ngayon it's so hard kasi di na sila nakikita gano'n, sa chat
Oo,
lang, sa Google Meet, sa Zoom, sa mga
tama.
social media platforms. It's really hard talaga nung lumipat tayo sa online setting.
Though meron naman siyang advantages, like you can reach people anywhere, I think
Mhm.
meron din talagang iwa-weigh out talaga natin yung disadvantages with that. Feel ko
Mhm.
relate dito yung teachers. Hello, teachers. Feel ko,
Hello.
kapag nagpapa-recite,
Yeah, yung
honestly
meron pang dead air or like
oo,
silence for like 10 to 20 seconds. "Hello,
yes.
class? Class, hello."
Oo nga. Ako,
Tapos bigla-bigla may isang tao na sasagot dun sa chat box, "Andito po kami, sir."
oo. Hindi niya sinagot yung tanong, pero sinagot niya na nandun sila.
Sinagot niya, oo, nandito na.
Alam mo. Oo nga. Sometimes I feel guilty pero parang, alam mo yun, naano ako, parang, please, we're here. Pero nung face to, ay, oh.
Oo, face to face, bawal yun, 'di ba?
Oo.
Kapag
No,
ginano'n ka, papalabasin ka ng classroom. Hala,
Sorry,
hindi ka
ah.
sumasagot. Labas ka nga ng classroom.
May naalala
Joke.
kasi ako, nung face to
Ano?
face talaga. Alam mo yung ano, may technique ka pa para hindi ka tawagin ng teacher.
Ano
Yung
yan? Paano yan? Paano yan?
yung ako parang
Share nga,
ano,
share.
alam mo yung technique ko ha, ina-analyze mo yung nasa board. Para alam nila na active ka talaga, nakikinig. Yung ina-analyze
Napakat
mo, oo.
sobra yung tingin mo sa ano 'no, kunwari sa math subject gano'n. Pinapatignan mo yung mga textbook o kaya yung ano, yung nasa board ta's kunwari nagso-solve ka para hindi ka
Oo
tawagin.
nga, baka sabihin na ano, "Ay ito, mabait 'to, kaya wag na." Gano'n. Tatawagin ko naman yung hindi nakikinig. Feel ko kasi gano'n na iniisip ng teachers. Kaya ayun, that's one experience that I remember. Kaya ako natawa kanina. And of course naman, since we're in the topic of face-to-face communication na,
Mhm.
let's talk about how effective it is compared to online communication.
Yeah. Kasi 'di ba nung offline, hala, ang pangit talaga ng offline. Sabi face to
Oo,
face, nung
face to face.
normal pa. Like,
Mm,
kasi tawag sa'tin ngayon new normal, right?
mm,
Nung dati normal pa, we can really study talaga nung nasa ano tayo, nasa classroom. Cause tokang-toka tayo dun sa teacher, yung mga sinusulat niya, we're like, taking notes. Ngayon kasi, we're like, tawag dito, nasa behind the screens lang tayo, nakatutok.
mm,
So, it's so hard to stay focused. Since
mm.
andiyan yung phones natin, very accessible internet. Dati, pwede ka mag-TikTok.
Ano, yeah, that's one, 'pag sa school. Isa naman is socially. And of course, maraming types of people. We tackled that
Mhm.
before. We have introverts, ambiverts, extroverts. Ako naman,
Mm.
mag-start ako sa point of view na isang introvert. I feel like communication face to face, feel ko para sa akin I don't have that much effort to use my words. Kasi
Mhm.
more on body language ako dati. More
Mhm.
on parang, uy, tas kukunin ko siya. Yung parang gaganon lang ako, hello, ganon. Ay, hindi nila ako nakikita, pero nag-wave ako ngayon. Yung mag-wave lang ako, kukunin ko lang sila, ganon. That's how I was before, so that's one advantage. How about extroverts?
Sige ako. Kasi back when it was face to face, yung extrovertedness ko siguro, it was way worse than right now.
Mm,
Kasi alam niyo naman ngayon, alam niyo ugali ko, very extra, ganyan.
mm,
Yung nakikita niyo ngayon, ay, kung nakita niyo ako ng JHS, no, never, hindi ko babalikan. It was so worse talaga.
mm,
Pero yun, since people were so close nga, 'di ba? Like rather than on screen na nakita ko yung faces lang nila, dati nahawakan ko yung body nila gano'n, nakakatab ko sila sa upuan,
mm,
gano'n. Sobrang dali lang talaga makipagkomunika. Pero
mm.
ngayon, it's so different. Ang hirap talaga.
Oo. And may I add, I remember one kwento from my friend before.
Mhm.
Extrovert siya in face-to-face pero hindi siya masyado active online.
Hmm,
And that's cool to think about because maybe sa face-to-face parang mas na-express niya sarili niya. Pero
yep,
ngayon sa online, parang mas shy na siya
nahihiya gano'n,
mag-DM,
oo.
oo. Parang ayun din, naiisip ko rin yun. It's so interesting to think of that. Ayun nga po, okay, we are actually done with the factors and barriers that affect how we communicate. Ngayon, ito na. How do we overcome these barriers?
Yeah. Ayun, sige, unahin ko. Kasi kanina na-mention ko yung shyness, again, na-mention mo sa kwento mo yung shyness about your friend, right? 'Di
Mm,
ba?
mm.
Ayun, feel ko like a way to overcome yung shyness is to consult yung ibang tao kung paano nga ba mag-approach gano'n, ta's practice little by little how to
Oo.
really like public speak gano'n, magsalita sa harap ng maraming tao gano'n
Mm,
o kaya sa kahit lang, kahit sa harapan lang ng small circle, mga strangers or friends gano'n, para malaman talaga nila kung paano nila kayang sanayin yung sarili nila, 'di ba? Kasi tandaan natin na small steps are progress, 'di ba?
And I wanna add to that. I feel like most people, um, are shy to overcome their shyness because
Mm.
mainly because they're afraid of
Yep.
taking a step forward and really tackling the root of their shyness. Alam mo yun?
Kasi ano, yeah, 'di ba yung ano, real ano real? Yung fear, it really gets to them talaga,
Mm.
right?
But
That's why the first step talaga, Miss Harriet, as you said kanina, is to take initiative
yes, take
in really
initiative.
facing your fears.
You have to be mentally ready to like really get over that shame. Sometimes kasi we feel
Mhm,
ashamed to learn
mhm.
something new. So I think you should remove that shame na hala baka pag maliit ako. No.
No.
That shouldn't be a barrier to
Yep.
your learning.
Like
When you
kapag
learn,
iniisip mo na,
yeah.
ay sige.
When
Sorry.
when you learn kasi there's no stop to learning na talaga.
Mhm.
Tuloy-tuloy na 'yun.
Tama, tama. Tsaka
Oo.
yung sinasabi ko kanina, sorry sinabat
It's
kita,
okay.
yung kanina, when you're learning, it's okay to make mistakes, 'di
Oo,
ba? That's
oo
the
talaga.
process nga. Kasi if you like commit or like nakagawa ka ng mistake, doon ka makakapag-realize na, oh, may bago palang paraan dito, may solusyon 'to. Puwede mong baguhin at you will better yourself because of that mistake, right? Kaya don't be
Mm.
afraid.
I agree, I totally agree. Wow, ang galing natin ha. Ayun, okey. So, iko-consult nga nila, pero ano naman yung mae-expect nilang tips sa mga tao? Ikaw ba, do you have any, like, tips for effective
Sige,
communication?
I'll give one, sige. Very na 'to, obvious, eh, like dapat it's like a common sense to a lot of
Mm.
people. Most people siyempre, dapat marunong tayong mag-articulate and also
Hmm.
marunong tayong mag-mind ng mga words natin.
Mm.
Kasi lahat ng lalabas sa mouth, sa
Math.
mga bunganga natin, dapat alam natin kasi minsan kung hindi natin alam sinasabi natin, nakakasakit na tayo, nakakatakot na tayong tao, at hindi na maganda. That's why formulate first the ideas of your message.
Mm.
Tapos yun, iano mo na, ilathala mo na. Speak it.
Mm. Ako
Parang
ha,
ano lang yan,
ano?
sige, mag-add pa ako. Parang ano lang yan, kapag sa internet gano'n, think before you click. Click.
Click.
Right?
Okay,
Click.
yes. Of course. Tamang-tama nga yun. Pero in real life naman, 'di ba, face to face naman. I agree
Mm.
with that. Kasi ako ha, whenever I'm in conflicts with my friends, I usually take time first to really think about what to say. Instead of just saying it agad-agad. Because hindi organized yon. Okay, I agree with that. But one thing rin is, once you say that naman, say that thought that you articulated, you have to be clear with what you're saying. And of course, you have to think about the tone, the approach talaga. And when you convey your message, syempre you have to be clear. Kasi how can you see through a glass when it's foggy?
Mhm.
'Di ba?
Mhm.
How
Wow, ang ganda nun, ha. Ganda ng
very
input naman.
wise woman once said.
Mhm.
Anyway, yung sa tono naman natin, ito ha, I really like this tip because your when your tone changes, humans have that grasp of ano naman, of
Yung
parang,
understanding, 'di ba?
yeah, na iintindihan nila na, hala, malakas so, ibig sabihin baka galit,
Mhm. Like
ganon.
konting change lang, alam nila parang galit na 'to,
Yeah,
gano'n.
because
Like parang iba na yung mood niya.
we're intelligent beings. Kaya
Mhm.
we interpret just by the mere change of tone.
Intelligent nga ba? Feel ko hindi ako bilang.
Ay.
Joke lang! Kasi when you're talking, there's someone listening, of course, right? That's why communicating is, kakasabi na ni Mr. Hart kanina, not just a one-way kind of thing. That's why understanding and then responding is, of course, important when it comes to communicating.
That's so true. So, malaking tulong dito ang comprehension, not just communication. There's comprehension as well.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. But with that, since alam na natin the like specific tips or steps on how to express what you want, here naman are notes you have to consider as well. here. It's okay to express how you feel, and it's okay to share your
Tama.
emotions and problems. But one thing we have to remember is you
Ayan.
don't
Guys, but. Yan
yeah,
na, may but.
don't dump your trauma onto other people. Do not
Mhm.
trauma dump. I like this.
Yung bigla-biglaan na, no? Nagtotalk ka, especially may sinabing sobrang serious. Should I respond?
Oo.
Ba't tayo ganyan, Babs?
Yes. Because all of us are going through things.
Mhm.
Hindi lang ikaw ang may problema. I'm sorry to say this,
Yep.
but
Yes.
you're not the only one with problems.
Mhm.
So, you should be considerate of other people as well.
Yep.
And,
Real talk lang.
but if you wanna share problems naman, ask for consent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Consent is key
Ask
to a
them,
better understanding and communication, of course.
is it okay to say that? Is it okay to talk? And if they say yes, edi yes. Go na. If they say, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, remember this ha, it's okay to say no.
Mhm.
It's okay to say no always. Or, kapag busy
Valid
ka.
yan. Kapag
Yeah.
ayaw mo. That's your
Oo.
right.
I'm sorry I'm busy. I'm sorry I'm going through something else. I'm sorry I'm doing homework. Okay, we understand.
Mhm.
Do you have any more notes to think about?
Feel ko pinaka gusto ko to. Hindi na siya note, but parang papunta na siya sa takeaway natin, ganyan. Right?
Parang
there's one thing na I really have to state that will certainly, siguro, like, magiging pinaka-importante, nonetheless, dito sa ating, episode. Para, para sa mga couples, ganon, kahit sino man dyan, kineme, between friends, or kaya people in general, tandaan natin na lahat ng arguments, yung mga pinagdadaanan between two people, or like a group of people, ganon, can be solved easily with effective communication.
oh my
Right,
gosh.
Miss Harriet?
Yes.
Napaka-importante nito.
Oo. This can also relate to our emotional barriers, right? That we mentioned a while ago. It's very, very.
Very.
Okay. Anyway, on a real note, on like a serious note, with the rise of emotions kasi, instead of communicating what we want to happen logically nga,
Yeah.
we tend to project those strong emotions to the other party instead.
Nangingibabo yung emotions over logical reasoning.
Yeah. And pag aware naman kasi yung tao on how the argument started and bakit nga sila naging angry, it can help them, all of us, to regulate our emotions into something more logical. So,
Yeah.
host Riel ha, I strongly believe that if we communicate logical thoughts instead of just like projecting and basing on our emotions, arguments will soon turn into smart conversations, peaceful conversations,
Yep, tama yan. Sige. Sobrang ganda naman ng input natin for that, last. So, sige,
Yeah.
before tayo mag-end for our 4th episode, yung takeaway natin, kailangan natin yan, kailangan natin sabihin kung ano nga ba ang nalaman natin para sa ating mga listeners, and also para makapag-share sila ng kanilang idea sa takeaway natin sa social media platforms using the hashtag.
Nakalimutan ko. Di kasi ako nanonood. I'm so sorry. Nasa isip ko.
Hindi ka sumusubaybay, no?
Nasa isip ko,
hashtag
caramel?
Caramel. No, it's Caramia.
No. Yes.
No, hindi lang siya no. It's Caramia. No.
No. Yeah.
No.
We have to be firm with our no.
Okay, so ayun, Miss Harriet, uunahin kita. Hot seat. Charot. Ano ang key takeaway mo for this episode?
Yung pinaka nag-stick talaga sa buong episode for me is to organize your emotions first before expressing yourself.
Oh, yeah. Tama. Dapat you need to collect your thoughts muna, no? For really, like, saying something. Kasi, dahil sa emotions, as you said kanina, yung mga pinag-usapan natin, yung emotion na yan, napapasobra minsan. And
Mm.
we cannot really think rationally, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. Tamang-tama. How about you?
Yung gusto ko lang sabihin is, listeners, be clear of what you're trying to express. Tandaan na,
Mm,
hindi maganda ang mixed signals.
that's true.
Ayan, be clear, no mixed signals. Yun ang pong gusto kong sabihin para sa ating listeners. Yan.
And another one, sorry ang dami kasi, dami natin pinag-usapan.
Oo, ang dami.
Don't just communicate, comprehend.
Yes, tama. O sige, one last thing.
Ay,
Na kailangan talaga
pahabol.
natin tandaan as a human being, as a decent person. Of course, be kind. It costs you nothing. Diba?
Yes, I love that so much.
Walang kwartang papalit sa kabutihang gusto mong ibigay sa iyong sarili at sa ibang tao. And that's why, thank you for listening to today's episode. If you want to know more about your host, you can reach us on our socials. I am at papariel_21 on Instagram, and you can type Riel Ocampo on YouTube, and you can find me there, subscribe, and like. Ikaw naman, Miss Harriet.
Ako naman at Lex Harriet on Instagram and type Lex Harriet. If you want to see me on YouTube as well, and syempre, subscribe na rin. And of course, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram at hi-cast exclusive and on Spotify and of course on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and click nyo na rin yung notification bell to be updated with our new episodes.
Yun, if you have any questions, valid reactions, o kaya naman stories na gusto nyong ibahagi sa amin about this episode or kahit ano, anything under the sun, email us at highcastexclusive@gmail.com.
Kung may say ka naman about our topic this episode, let us know using the hashtag
Hara?
Mia
No.
No talaga. Of course. Love
So
it.
that's it! Stay tuned for our next episode. This is Highcast, where you hear beyond stories.
Welcome ka sa